I don't know. Are we telling the whole story? Were you telling the whole story?
I don't know. That's a long story.
It's a very long story.
It's not really that long of a story.
I don't know if we can do it in 10 minutes.
How many years? 15? That's a...
But it's really 20, actually. This year marks 20 years. Because, you know, July 13th, 1998 is when we started dating. We are a family of 5 embarking on an RV journey. Our lives are anything but ordinary, and we are proud of the unconventional paths we've taken over the last 20 years. They've brought us much adventure and joy.
We invite you to join us on another unconventional idea as we follow travel nursing jobs all over the U.S., road school our kids, and make a million memories. Our no ordinary path started off in high school. Kristen and I were high school sweethearts. We went to different high schools.
We met just before my sophomore year, and by the time I graduated high school, it was evident that we were going to get married and be together forever.
My dad will always claim it as fame of his that he saw her first, and would always tell everyone that he meets that he told me, hey, better go meet that girl, or something of that nature.
I ended up following Kristen to Kansas State University.
It wasn't long before we made our first non-ordinary choice. Shortly after my 19th birthday, John surprised me and took me to this really adorable, cute little town called Frisco, Colorado. He had always wanted to live in the mountains, and so he was excited for me to see that. I didn't know that he had already talked to my dad and everything, but it was the trip, and he proposed with a little white daisy. When we came home from that trip and we told all of our family and friends, they were like, but why? And we just knew that we loved each other very much, and we didn't see any point in waiting until the quote appropriate age to get engaged and get married. For a million and one reason, we decided to become college dropouts.
And we dropped out at the same time. It was unconventional, not your typical ordinary path, because we also got engaged at that same time. Of course, everybody thought Kristen was pregnant, and she wasn't.
Then later on in the fall, we got married on September 28th.
I was 21, Kristen was 19.
19.
You were a teenager, teenage bride.
Baby.
The honeymoon, we decided to take a cruise, and Kristen was not able to order any alcohol until we had gone into international waters. She wasn't old enough. Boom. All of a sudden, wife, married, and then it was time to get home from the honeymoon, and we, again, unconventionally decided to buy our first house. No rent, no nothing. We were just going to straight up be homeowners in our early 20s. We were dinks. Dual income, no kids, for those of you who don't know what a dink is. So this was fun for a little while, but eventually we kind of decided that we wanted more. Like 2 years into nursing school, we actually decided to have a baby. So full-time school, full-time work, and baby all of a sudden is coming along.
So it was kind of a difficult time in our life. We had to decide whether we were going to wait to have a family or just go for it. And in true unordinary fashion, we just went for it. I walked across the stage and got my degree in business management when I was about 38 weeks pregnant.
She decided to come home.
I always knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom,
which I'm very proud of her for doing, and continued to do that basically ever since. And so fast forward, we did this thing called Bike Across Kansas. We rode our bicycle across Kansas with my parents in tow, in an RV no less. Yes, we did totally take baby Aaron across Kansas in an RV with us. The funny thing was, is we figured out that during the entire ride across Kansas, Kristen was pregnant. So biking across Kansas throughout the first trimester, suck at morning sickness.
We found out that we were pregnant with Ethan, and obviously we weren't trying, but I was thrilled. And then all of a sudden I had two crazy boys, very close in age. They were 19 months apart, and my dreams had already come true. John still had his dream of living in Colorado.
I came to her and I said, look, I'm happy with our life, but I have this thing that I need to do. I need to live in the mountains. I need to do this to be happy. Part of this drive was also the fact that my brother did do it, and I was very proud of him for doing it. I stumbled upon Flight for Life Colorado. I fell in love with the idea of becoming part of that someday. So not only now do we have Colorado, but we also have this flight nursing for a pretty prestigious company to work for. I need to at least give this a shot and say that I did it. And I feel like Kristen and I have always aggressively pursued our dreams.
At that time in our life, we really felt like God was calling us to the mountains, to Colorado, and doors kept opening, and we just kept walking through them, which was awesome.
So I ended up landing a job in the medical ICU at St. Anthony Hospital there in Lakewood, Colorado. The only problem was is our house was still on the market here in Kansas. So following with that unconventional, no ordinary path that we take, I just decided to move out early and live with my brother and his newlywed.
I stayed back for 3 months with our two small children.
We were able to move the family out to be with me, and eventually bought a house in the mountains on 2 acres that we fell absolutely in love with. And I also did become one of those flight nurses, that part of that family that was a pretty amazing period of my life.
And that time of our life was very exciting and adventurous, and I think we finally realized that we really can do the things that the hopes and dreams and desires that God puts on our heart, we actually can achieve them and go after them. The greatest thing that came out of Colorado was Miss Chloe. She is our Colorado native. Her birth was a whirlwind. Since we lived in the mountains, we were almost an hour away from the hospital, and I literally almost had her on the side of the highway.
About an 85-mile-per-hour drive down the highway at 3 in the morning. With my wife screaming in the side passenger of a Jeep Wrangler. It was nuts.
We did make it to the hospital with 5 minutes to spare, and I had her on the gurney on the way up to labor and delivery.
So we've been in Colorado for 5 years. Flights was awesome. Flights was amazing. I have nothing but good to say about that company and working for that company. But the job was hard. It's true trauma, and that's not easy for everybody. The schedule was hard too, I won't lie.
With the shift changing and the horrible trauma that he witnessed, it was time for him to move on and find something else. And we found ourselves trying to find another dream. Financially, Denver area is a very expensive place to live.
We kind of decided too that maybe we should move to be back by family again. So we moved back to Kansas, right? And the transition was not an easy one.
Nothing seemed right, nothing felt right.
We found that we missed our adventures more than we thought we would. We were like, well, maybe we'll go and we'll get an RV or something. I was like, let's go check it out. Let's just go check it out. It'd be fun. We could go on vacation. Funny thing about it is Kristen was super jazzed. She was ready to take it home. Right then, very first one, didn't need to look at it anymore. She was ready to go. Let's just take it home. And I was like, whoa, The thought occurred to me as we were touring one of these RVs that, I could do travel nursing. I didn't bring it up at the time because I wasn't sure how it would go over with Kristen. But I was like, I could do travel nursing and we could live in one of these things, we really could. It wouldn't be a big deal.
And on the way home, I'm like, babe, I know a family that actually does this full time. They live in it for full time and they work out of there. They have jobs that allow them to. That's such a bummer that we don't have those kinds of jobs. And he goes, well, what if I travel nurse? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sold, let's do it.
It was like the key that unlocked everything.
So here we are,
about to embark on a year-long, or more, travel adventure with our family of 5 plus a dog in a 37-foot travel trailer. Yes, we've heard about the risks, the concern for the kids' safety, the potential lack of socialization and education. We acknowledge the hardships of what it may be to be going from living in a 2,600 square foot home to one of only around 400. We know there'll be change, and we know there'll also be joy and sights and new adventure, new places, new friends. And the nice thing is, the great thing is, we'll get to do it all together as a family.
You don't have to be rich to follow your dreams. You don't have to have all of your ducks in a row, and you don't have to take a normal or ordinary path to get there. You just need to do it, to go, to not let ideas of how you should do something stand in the way of what you could do and what you could experience.
And we want to share this with each other, but also we want to share it with you. And that's why we've created this channel, created these videos, created the blog, the emails, the Instagram accounts, the Facebook accounts. We want you to come along with us as we follow a path less traveled. It's not typical, but is full of life. This is our No Ordinary Path.